Welcome into episode 10 of the Dore Report, presented by the great folks at Alaco Hardwood Flooring.
If you are looking for someone trustworthy and reliable to apply new hardwood flooring, look no further than the folks at Alaco Hardwood Flooring. Jimmy Alaco and his staff are the best in town and will get your job done in a heartbeat. No matter what style you are going for, you can trust your flooring job to Alaco Hardwood Flooring. Take a walk through the woods in your home every day. Get your job started today. For more information, log on to alacohardwoodflooring.com or call 615-356-0303.
Big thanks to Alex Fisher for that advertisement spot. Does a great job for us here on the Dore Report, and always great thanks to the excellent folks at Alaco Hardwood Flooring. They are the best in town, and they're the best in Nashville. I am currently on my last day of school here at Ave Maria before Christmas break, and I'm going to be talking some Commodore athletics here. But again, this is episode 10 of the Dore Report. So glad all of you were able to join me here on a beautiful Thursday evening in Naples, Florida, sending it up to Nashville, Tennessee. From Naples to West End, we are here to talk Vanderbilt athletics with you all. And this is an exciting time for Vanderbilt athletics. We've got the basketball team in action Monday night against Arizona State, a top 20 team coming into Memorial Gym. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. We have a new athletic director on West End. His name is Malcolm Turner. He is currently still serving as the NBA's G League president, but he was hired by the Commodores and the administration thanks to Nick Zeppos. We'll talk more about my opinion on this hire later in the podcast, but Zeppos has decided to bring in Malcolm Turner, and they actually introduced him via teleconference. So an interesting way to introduce a new athletic director. We will talk a lot more about this a little bit later in today's episode. But in addition to Malcolm Turner being hired, there's a football game that's going to be played a couple days after Christmas between the Commodores and the Baylor Bears. It's the Texas Bowl at NRG Stadium in Houston, the home of the Texans, 2 days after Christmas on ESPN, 8 o'clock kickoff in Houston, Texas. This is the only football game on that Thursday night, so prime time, Vanderbilt and Baylor in the spotlight. Can't wait to watch that one. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up later in the podcast. But first, let's start by talking a little bit of hoops. Vanderbilt is in action Monday night against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Arizona State is currently ranked number 20 in the AP poll. And for the Commodores, they need to find some consistency. They found some last game against Savannah State. Against MTSU, rather. They played well against Savannah State as well, but they played extremely well against MTSU on the defensive end. And, when you look at this team, they have potential on the defensive end. They really do. Against MTSU, the Commodores won 79-51. Maxwell Evans played very well at the point guard position. They rebounded well with a win over the Blue Raiders. Simi Shitu, 15 points. He was 6 of 13 from the field. He was 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So Commodores are improving in their free throw percentages. Taking a look at the minutes, Saban Lee played the most minutes with 28. Simi Shitu and Matt Ryan each played 21. Cleavon Brown also played 21 minutes. Joe Toy, 22 minutes. Matthew Moore, 20 minutes. Yanni Wetzel got some good reps, 17 minutes. Mac Hunt had a minute, and so did Isaiah Rice. Maxwell Evans also 22 minutes as well. So the starting five was a little bit of a shakeup. Matthew Moore got his first start against MTSU. Saban Lee, Joe Toy, Simi Shitu, Matt Ryan, and Matthew Moyer. So Shitu and Moyer controlling the paint, and I think that could be a dangerous combo. Those two blocking shots, running up and down the court. I think that could be a dangerous combo. As I mentioned, Shitu, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Matthew Moyer, 14 points, 2 rebounds. Matt Ryan, 9 points. He was 3 for 5 from the field, couple of threes from Ryan. Joe Toy, 6 points. Saban Lee, 7 points. Maxwell Evans and Aaron Neesmith had 9 points apiece. They each had a three-pointer for themselves as well. So Evans needs to continue to improve. If Evans can sort of complement Saban Lee in an efficient manner, this Commodores team should be fine the rest of the way. And rolling along with their schedule, number 20, Arizona State rolls into town. Vanderbilt will welcome the Sun Devils to Memorial Gym, 7 o'clock on the SEC Network on Monday, December the 17th. Vanderbilt is actually favored to win this one, most likely because they play at home. But again, this one it's at Memorial Gym, but Arizona State is a good team. This is an NCAA tournament team. The stats, if you look at them, 7-8 games through the beginning of the season, pretty similar for both teams. Vanderbilt is averaging 84 points a game. Arizona State averaging 84 points a game. Field goal percentage, Vanderbilt averaging 48%, Arizona State averaging 47%. Blocks and steals per game, both teams pretty decent on the defensive side, 15 assists per game for each team. So I think this is going to be an evenly matched game between a couple of, possible NCAA tournament teams. So we will see about that one. And then next Saturday, December 22nd, Vanderbilt will travel to Manhattan, Kansas to play in the Wildcat Classic against another top 25 team, the Kansas State Wildcats, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. And then the Commodores will return home to Memorial Gym on the 29th of December and play Tennessee State. And then UNC Asheville on New Year's Eve will play at Memorial Gym. So again, the Commodores basketball team, they got to get rolling here because SEC play is rapidly approaching. If they can get a win, if they can split that Arizona State, Kansas State couple of games, they'll be looking good heading into SEC play because they'll only have 3 losses. And I mean, the Commodores, they started out the season well. Obviously, with a guy like Darius Garland going down, hopes are never very bright of making the NCAA tournament. But if this team can buckle down on the defensive end and find some shot makers on the offensive side, they should be fine because you already have guys like Matt Ryan, Maxwell Evans has to step up. Semi Shutu is always going to be there. Saban Lee is an interesting guy because, when you think of Darius Garland was a guy that got everyone else involved. Saban Lee is more of a get himself involved type of guy. He's not necessarily going out there every game and looking to get other players involved in the game. He will occasionally make a good pass, but Darius Garland was really that kind of guy that we need. But Saban Lee's just going to have to do his thing. He can't. I don't think he needs to change his game, but he needs to sort of adapt to the way that Bryce Drew needs his point guard to play. Obviously, this team has been adapting ever since Darius Garland was injured. But we'll see. I think Saban Lee, Max Evans, Joe Toy all need to step up in replace of Darius Garland. Semi Shutu, Matthew Moyer, and Cleavon Brown also going to have to step up as well. It's just an overall team step up without Darius Garland. And it's going to be interesting to see how they fare against Arizona State on Monday night. And then the following Saturday night, they will play Kansas State, a couple of top 25 teams on the Commodores' radar. If they can get 2 of those wins, that'll be huge heading into SEC play and obviously boosting their RPI. But if they lose both, that will definitely be a damper into their spirits and also their RPI. So if they can split, you come out of that weekend thinking, all right, we're looking decent heading into SEC play. If you lose both, not looking good for the Commodores. So this is an important couple of games the Commodores schedule coming up. They have a nice break in between both of them, so they'll be able to game plan properly for both teams, Arizona State and Kansas State. Let's move along here, talk some football. The Commodores will play in the Texas Bowl December 29th against the Baylor Bears. This game will kick off at 8 p.m. in Texas. Again, this is a type of bowl where the Commodores are going to be getting a lot of exposure on a night where this is the only football game on any American's television set. Both teams are 6-6. It's the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl, Thursday, December 27th, a couple of days after Christmas. Most folks are just sitting around their house, looking for the games to watch, and I think this is going to be an underrated game. A lot of people are doubting the fact that this game could be exciting, but I think it will. You got a guy like Kyle Shermer and Keyshawn Vaughn, Kalijah Lipscomb, Jared Pinkney. I mean, this Commodores team has NFL players. I mean, this offense is definitely one of the more underrated offenses in the country. When you look at the stats, Shermer, 2,844 yards, 23 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. That's an NFL quarterback. Keyshawn Vaughn, 144 carries, 1,001 yards, 10 touchdowns. And Kalijah Lipscomb, 81 catches, 886 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Jared Pinkney has a great stat line as well. But when you look at Baylor, they will be without Jalen Hurd. He led the team in receptions with 69 catches, 946 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But they do have a good running back in their backfield who has been one of the better running backs in the Big 12, actually, John Lovett, 546 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he's only a sophomore. He's a young kid, but again, that's going to be a guy for the Commodores to watch out for in the running game. Charlie Brewer, the Baylor Bears quarterback, 2,635 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, another sophomore. So this Baylor team is young, but they're explosive. This is an explosive Big 12 offense that the Commodores have to be ready for if they want to compete in this one. I think the Commodores win, but we'll have to see. They are favored by 3.5 to win this one between the Commodores and the Bears. For Vanderbilt, again, this is a great opportunity to showcase your talent. I mean, if you're Derek Mason, this is a game where you got to get your guys encouraged to go out there and compete in the bright lights on a Thursday night, a couple of days after Christmas, in an NFL stadium on ESPN with a lot of people watching, a lot of scouts watching, guys like Shermer, Vaughn, Lipscomb, and Pinckney, also guys like Juwan Williams. So this Vanderbilt team has NFL players on its squad, and I think Baylor's going to be concerned about all the weapons Vanderbilt will be bringing offensively. Watch out for Vaughn to have a big day, a big night coming up for Keyshawn Vaughn in the Texas Bowl. But again, this is a great opportunity for the Commodores. Derek Mason trying to shoot for that winning season, first winning season in his 5-year tenure as a Commodores head coach. Hopefully this team will be able to finish 7-6 and then fly high heading into next year with Shermer gone, Pinckney and Juwan Williams most likely gone. Not sure about Keyshawn Vaughn quite yet. I have a hunch that Keyshawn Vaughn will stay. I really do. I think Vaughn is going to stay, and I think he might have some unfinished business. We already know Kalijah Lipscomb will stay. Juwan Williams and Pinckney, as I mentioned, are most likely leaving for the NFL. I mean, those guys are top, second or third round draft picks already. Shermer will be drafted as well. It's going to be a fun NFL draft in Nashville for these Commodore players. That is sure to be true. But again, Commodores and the Baylor Bears. It's 8:00 kickoff in Houston for the Texas Bowl. And one more piece of news to touch on. The Commodores have a new athletic director. His name is Malcolm Turner. And there was a lot of discrepancy and issues that the local media had with the way Vanderbilt handled this hiring of Malcolm Turner. They introduced him via a teleconference, and many people were, sort of speculating about why the Commodores introduced him via a teleconference. But again, this guy is still the G League president. He is the new Vanderbilt athletic director, but I mean, he still has a job to work. He's talking on a teleconference about the Vanderbilt athletics director job he now possesses, and there's music coming through that speaker to the ears of the Vanderbilt fan. Here's what Turner said, end quote, "I've had a history of creating revenue throughout my career and building relationships, and ultimately, in my view, the underpinning of fundraising is creating a compelling vision of the future." He also said, "At the end of the day, it's about providing our teams, namely our student athletes and coaches, with the resources they need." He continues to say, "We have a real opportunity to play offense, taking the Vanderbilt name forward in athletics. To me, the ingredients are all there." That's what Malcolm Turner said, and it's all pulsing together now. And, the heads are beginning to shift, and they're nodding in unison to the rocking symphony of a new day for the Commodores. I mean, when you look at this hire, I think it's a solid hire, not a great hire. And this is sort of a wait and see type of hire because Malcolm Turner has a background in marketing and promoting a league. He has never been an athletic director for any other college in the nation. So that's going to be something to watch because Zeppos is a guy that I don't think he's going to bring in an athletic director like Danny White or someone like a standing Power 5 athletic director because of the fact that Nick Zeppos has to have the control. Nick Zeppos has to be in the driver's seat. Now, things could change where, there are things on the horizon with this Vanderbilt athletics department that I don't think anyone really expects to happen in the future. Chris Lee is one of my good friends. He is the founder of VandySports.com. And he appeared on the Wake Up Zone a couple days ago, and he was talking about a bright future for Vanderbilt athletics, and Vanderbilt fans should be excited. So, and I believe in that. I firmly believe that Malcolm Turner is going to take Vanderbilt athletics to the next level. I really do. I didn't like the way they introduced him. I think this breaking news of bringing Malcolm Turner in really flew under the radar. because I mean they brought him in via a teleconference, and then the day of, that later that night, and the same day they hired him, they introduced him via teleconference. He was seen at a dinner with coaches, so on Vanderbilt's campus in Nashville. So again, I just that kind of confused me. Why don't you just introduce him via a teleconference, have Zeppos up there, talk about the vision for Vanderbilt athletics, and then bring Malcolm Turner up and have him talk about, the things he's excited about. So again, I did not like the way they introduced him and the way they broke the news. But nonetheless, we have an athletic director. There's Vanderbilt has an athletic director before Tennessee has an offensive coordinator. So that's something to be proud of, I think. But again, I think the future is bright. You got the football team with a new era next year, most likely under a new quarterback in Alan Walters. You got young guys like Cam Johnson and Alston Orji, Brendan Harris, Trey Douglas, another solid recruiting class coming in. So I think you're excited about the football team. You're excited about the basketball team under Bryce Drew, with guys like Dylan Disu and Austin Crowley coming in. Darius Garland, paved the way. He most likely will not be seen in a Vanderbilt game again, but guys like Shatu and Garland paved the way. And next year you'll still have guys like Evans and a lot of depth on next year's team as well. So basketball team looking solid in the years to come. You'll be seeing them in the March Madness tournaments, and then baseball always consistent under Tim Corbin. So this baseball team, they're looking for a College World Series title this year. That's what they're shooting for, and I can't wait. Football on the horizon. Basketball is looking solid, and baseball always excellent under Tim Corbin. So that just about does it here for episode 10 of the Dore Report, presented by the great folks at Alaco Hardwood Flooring. For myself, Billy Derrick, you've been listening to the Dore Report, presented by Alaco Hardwood Flooring.